Hey guys, it's Allie, and in today's video, I want to talk about some things that you should not do to your American Girl dolls. Few little things to say right before we get into it. Number one, this video is 100% inspired by a video I saw by Emma Cole. Her channel will be linked down below, but I do talk about a few different tips, and she talks about some different tips. So, you know, if you recently got an American Girl doll, or you just want to make sure that you're taking care of your dolls as best as you can, I recommend watching both of our videos. So that will be linked in the description. Second disclaimer, I don't know how obvious it is, but I have been a little bit stuffed up recently, but I really need to film some videos, so you have to deal with my maybe slightly nasally, stuffy sound. I don't really know how it's gonna sound yet, but I'm feeling a bit stuffed up, but I want to get this video out, so please bear with me. I am sorry, it is not contagious through a screen. But yeah, as I did touch on earlier, these are just some things from my own personal experience and that are quite well known in the community that you want to make sure that you don't do to your dolls to take good care of them. And especially with it being the holiday season, I'm sure that some people are going to get dolls for the holidays and they might not know how to take care of them. So whether you are watching this for yourself, you are watching this for somebody else, please do not destroy your expensive American Girl dolls, and this video will teach you how to keep them in good condition. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is brushing your doll's hair. And my biggest tip when it comes to managing doll hair is to make sure that you start from the bottom and then work your way up to the top, just like you would with human hair. If your doll's hair is really knotty and you're starting at the top, you are just pulling more and more hair compared to starting at the bottom and doing a small section of hair until there's no more knots. Then moving up, you're not going to mess up the wig as much, you're not going to have as many split ends. So that is the first recommendation. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you watch any video of me like fixing up a doll, you will probably see me brushing out my doll's hair. On a similar note, when it comes to doll hair care, do not brush out your dolls who have really curly, really tight curly hair. For example, Gabriella, 83, even Yvette. At least if you do brush out Gabriella's hair or 83's hair, you can easily, you know, redo the curl. It's not gonna look the exact same, but it's not gonna lose its curliness. But Yvette's hair, I love Yvette as a doll, but I'm way too scared to own her because I have not seen any method that works to restore her curls. The Doll Studio by Chris has a really good video about Yvette's hair care. I consider his channel the Brad Mondo of American Girl because, you know, the hairstylist for dolls, AG salon stylist, all of that. He made a video just talking about how Yvette's hair is difficult to care for and there's not really any way to restore her curls, so the best way to preserve her hair is just to not touch it. Even the Yvette at my local American Girl store, I've seen her hair get completely destroyed and it pains me. I have made a video on the best American Girl dolls I recommend for beginners from personal experience. I will link that in the description if you are looking for gift ideas or dolls to get someone where they will not completely destroy the hair. But yeah, you can brush out Gabriella's curls if you want to redo them, but it's just not going to be the same tightness that you would have gotten straight out of the box. So if you want to do their hair, do like a ponytail or something, just don't brush out the curls unless you absolutely have to. Next, in terms of storage, do not keep your dolls in a seated position for a long period of time. American Girl dolls have elastic that holds their limbs to their bodies. And when you keep them seated for a long period of time, it will just stretch out the elastic, leading to loose limbs and things like that. And you also don't want to keep them lying flat down. I used to do that because the way my dollhouse was laid out when I stored them there, they would always just be lying flat on their backs, on their beds, so I wouldn't have to worry about them falling over. But they just collected dust. So, what is the optimal way to store dolls, in my opinion? If you have a lot of dolls and you don't touch them for long periods of time, to avoid getting dust on them, I recommend keeping them upright. And most people keep them upright by putting them on shelves. My shelves are the Billy bookcases from IKEA. Strongly recommend. I have the smaller units and they hold about 16 dolls each if you maximize the shelf arrangement. So 4 dolls per shelf. And I don't think I've ever had a doll fall from the shelves, and they don't really get dusty either because of the overhang. So I strongly recommend shelves as a way to store your American Girl dolls and keep them protected from the elements. That's what most collectors do. And I'm sure even if you had only like 1 or 2 dolls, it would still be a great way to store them. Similarly related to storage is the temperature of the room that you keep your dolls in. If you live in a really hot place or if it is summer, do not keep your dolls in a really hot room. or even a hot car for long periods of time. American Girl dolls are made out of vinyl, and when they are in a really hot room, they'll get squishy. And even though I have not had anything bad happen as a result of my dolls being in heat, according to Emma Cole's video, her Joss's lip paint got a little bit weird from the heat, and I'm sure the eye sockets would want to mess up the eyes a little bit because when you're doing an eye swap, you heat up the head so you can move the eyes. And if your doll's head is squishy, there's a chance the eyes might move out of place. I normally keep my dolls in the basement or in my room when the air conditioner is blasting during the summer, and if I'm going away during the summer, I just try and move my dolls to the basement so they won't get overheated. You also don't want to get water in your doll's eyes because this can lead to silver eye, and I wouldn't recommend getting water on their body cloth either because it can make it moldy. Of course, body cloth is less severe. You know, you take out the stuffing, let it dry. There are tutorials on how to do that, but silver eye is a lot more intense. You either have to do an eye swap yourself or send your doll to the hospital. There's metal inside your doll's eyes. You don't want it to rust, so I would just not put my dolls near water. I say that when I've taken doll photos in a pool before, but just be extra cautious, you know? In terms of the doll itself, I would not recommend cutting the neck strings if your doll comes with neck strings. Newer collectors might be like, what? What are neck strings? Well, before American Girl introduced zip ties in 2016, the dolls would have pieces of string on their back to close their heads onto their bodies. Now, I will admit, I accidentally did cut the neck strings on my very first doll, but not super short.
Removing the dress, I accidentally cut the very tips of the neck strings off because I forgot to take them out of the way. Learn from my mistakes.
But I have seen people get a doll for the first time and want to cut off the strings because they're ugly or they look bad in photos, but do not, because if the strings are too short, it will be hard for your doll's head to come back on if you ever take it off, and your doll's head is just going to want to fall off because there's not really a knot holding it in place. So yes, please do not cut the neck strings if you hate it. There are tutorials on how to put a zip tie in there, but I think more people actually prefer the neck strings than the zip tie because it's just better for customizing. But yeah, I do not recommend messing with that. Similarly, and this is a mistake I made with my first few dolls, do not cut your doll's tags. Now, is this as extreme as the other things on the list? Absolutely not. But the tags are very useful when it comes to figuring out what year the doll is from or even giving value to a doll. So my first ever doll, my Truly Me 59 from 2014, I cut off her side tag because it bothered me. But I know the date of the doll, so it's not too important. But with older dolls like Samantha's, for example, the tags are very useful to be able to date a doll and figure out what year they are from. I strongly do not recommend cutting them. I really regret cutting my doll's tags. You know, it just messes with the value of the doll and keeping it in good condition. And it's a useful clue to figure out, you know, what year the dolls are from if they ever end up on the secondhand market or anything. Next, do not leave dark colored clothing on your dolls for long periods of time. This applies more so for Etsy clothing from my experience, but American Girl has had a few items stain dolls. For example, there was a gamer chair a few years ago, and then recently the Diwali outfit, though I believe it has been fixed, left stains on dolls. I experienced this with a pair of black Etsy leggings that I left on my doll for a little bit too long, and she got some very subtle black marks on her legs. So just be careful. I know if you guys watch Kyla Collects her videos, she recently stained her all-white rainbow high doll, Pride and Joy Natasha Zima, because she put her in red dark clothing. So just be very cautious, especially if you're getting doll clothing from Etsy, that it does not stain your doll if your doll is wearing it for long periods of time. You can remove stains with things like potentially a magic eraser or the acne cream treatment. I have never done it. Once again, there are YouTube tutorials on how to fix these things, but why not just not stain your doll in the first place, you know? Finally, do not impulse customize your American Girl doll. This is another thing I'm guilty of doing. If you are young, you should not be customizing your dolls without a parent's permission anyways. If you're like a teenager or even an adult and you're like, I want to try a new wig on my Mary Grace doll, even though you bought Mary Grace because you love original Mary Grace, don't just impulsively take off her wig at 1 a.m. and then realize you like the original better. I didn't destroy my doll or anything, but I have a fear of gluing down wigs. And I find American Girl wigs, once they've been removed, are not as tight as if you get wigs from like Etsy or something. So even though I still love my Mary Grace, I really do wish I never removed her wig because I'm too scared to glue it back on permanently. Like, I guess it gives me opportunities just to play around, but I literally wanted original Mary Grace, and then I took off her wig. This applies to other things too, like impulsively swapping your doll's eyes. Like, even just wait a day before impulse customizing your American Girl dolls, and especially if you're younger or more inexperienced, you don't want to accidentally destroy a doll. So those are some things that I would not recommend doing to an American Girl doll. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down any other tips that you have to take care of your dolls in the comments. Subscribe to my channel for more American Girl doll videos, and I will see you soon, hopefully in a less congested state, in a new video. Bye!